Hello and welcome everyone, I'm Madals and I'm here producing some exclusive content for ESET UK Masters. It is finalist focus, and of course there have been a couple of replacements for the people who qualified online, and therefore I'm having to do these videos rather last minute because it is currently, at the time of recording this, very early hours of Wednesday morning. I'm travelling to the grand finals tomorrow morning, tomorrow morning, and therefore This is very last minute, but it's got to be done because these guys all deserve a massive hype up. So make sure that you're leaving comments, you're sending them some tweets at ESET UK Masters and stuff like that. Let us know who you think could be a potential winner or podium finisher. So let me introduce the finalist. In the top left position as the red Zerg from Team Dignitas, it is dTefel. And his opponent for this game, down in the lower right, is the blue Terran player. It is Empire's Cass. So dTefel, he's the person we're going to be concentrating on this game because he is the finalist. Now, for those of you who don't know dTefel, he plays for Team Dignitas. He joined them on the 19th of November 2012, and he's from Poland and is 25. Now, why is he in here? He didn't get a spot from the online qualifiers. He didn't win previously at the 2012 series in November, so he didn't get a slot there. He's actually got a spot purely due to the fact, and hang on, I'm just going to point out there's a barracks coming down here and a gas. So this means Reapers are definitely coming out. So hopefully dTefel will prepare for this, and he's actually gone for the spawning pool first and has got an Overlord. Please tell me it's rallied far enough. He might see it. But anyway, he's 25 from Poland. The reason he's here is because Nurcio had some scheduling clashes and therefore couldn't attend, so we replaced Nurcio with the next highest ranking Zerg player who qualified, and dTefel was that. So yeah, dTefel's in. He's going to be doing really well, and he had an amazing run at the 2012 ESET UK Masters actually, but I'll talk more about that in a second because at the moment this Overlord is like, something was a bit weird. Oh, there's a barracks. That is pretty much what went through dTefel's head there. So he's pulling back this Overlord because it could be a Marine after all, and then he doesn't want that dying, so he's trying to get it over the high ground as quickly as he can. But the Reaper coming out is fine as long as a bunker doesn't get down. If a bunker comes down, things could be pretty funky. And here it goes. The bunker is on its way. There's no vision, so unbeknown that it's coming, but the Queen is out due to the spawning pool opening from the Dignitas player, as opposed to going hatch first that so many Zergs do against Terran. The downside to Cass is because he got this early gas, there's no expansion, so he's putting a lot of his late game stuff into making this do a lot of damage. So that is certainly what it's got to do. A couple of drones could die here. Good little bit of micro. You've got to pull back the damage drones very quickly. But the Queen is just about to pop. There we go. So suddenly this Reaper has to be very careful. Reapers deal so little damage. Getting the inject off first was a good little move there because the production is what's going to be really important. A few lings now on the way out. The damage drones just getting pulled back. Got to keep them alive. That's the most important thing. And as we can see now, this bunker, while it's finished, is at no threat until a Reaper gets in it. That first Reaper does go down, but there's a second one running around the back. The second hatchery is now complete, but with that bunker there, going to be incredibly frustrating and can reach that hatchery with the increased range from being in the bunker. So while we watch this little Reaper desperately try and take out a hatchery, let's talk a little bit about dTefel's run at the ESET 2012 finals, where he got through the group stages really nicely by going 4-0 on map. So he went 2-0 in the group stage against Zictor Mini and TLO, and he 2-0'd both of them. It was the all Zerg group, which was there was some strange shenanigans. We drew the names out of a hat and it just worked out that way, but yeah, it was really tough. But as we see now, these two Reapers are just doing the nice little bunker dance. Good little bit of micro there out of Crass, just pulling him out the other side, but with 3 Queens here, this is going to get shut down pretty hard. The Reapers just cannot do enough DPS to deal with that, and that's why so many Zerg players are going up to 4 Queens really early on, and it's a great strategy. It's always a good thing to do because you get creep spread, you get Hellion and Reaper defense very nicely out. But for dTefel now, things are actually looking okay because for a start, this barracks has got a long float home. That's hurting production because currently there's no army production at all for Cass. He also is only just 3/4 of the way through getting his natural command center out, and that's a really big issue as well because while these Reapers are still just trying to be aggressive and get a couple of kills, and they should get a drone or two now, it's not really worth it because if we look at the worker count, dTefel is already ahead by 12. The drones are coming to try and block off these Reapers. Of course, there's no way they can escape here. This is a double cliff, so they've got to get back over this way. 2 Reapers go down, only 1 remaining. This is no threat at all really now for our Zerg player, and as such, Cass, he's getting a little bit behind economically. Still 8 workers behind, even after killing a couple. He's only amazingly managed to kill 1. Great micro, pulling those damage drones back, by the Zerg player at the moment, but as we see, the Queen's pushing forward, the creep spread pushing forward, and that should spell the end of it. The second orbital command is done for Cass, so he's going to start calling down some some mules, as we're seeing there, and he's just going for a mech style play. We can see that we've got Blue Flame starting, so it's a double factory Blue Flame Hellion style. dTefel taking his third base, which is a little bit awkward. It's quite a long way away, and there's also this back entrance in, which means Hellions can have a bit of a field day, especially when there's these two entrances up into your natural as well. Can make things a bit fun to try and defend it all. Cass with the greedy third CC is great, because if you delayed your natural in order to get out this harassment, you're going to be behind economically. Cass knows that, chucks down the command center, allows him to start trying to fight his way back into that. But dTefel, even factoring in mules, is still slightly ahead in terms of the economy, and he is up to all 4 gas now, and his lair is half done. So really interested to see what he's going to be getting out. A couple of roaches are on the way, so could just be Roach Hydra. It's a strong composition against Terran in the heart of the swarm. It could also be, but less likely, some kind of swarm host style play. It can be done, but tanks negate the effect of it. So against mech it's not so great, but if you get in a good position you can really contain a Terran well. So the one thing we haven't seen from Cass as of yet is any medevac, so that infamous boost ability is not getting used quite yet, and probably won't be with mech either, so no need to worry about that. Some mines coming out as well, and that's just going to help zone things out. A couple of creep tumors getting stopped before they can start going through, but the roaches, they're going to put an end to these Hellions. Blue Flame is just about to finish, but of course the second the Cass sees those roaches there, he's going to be like, ah, I committed so much to this push and the roaches are having none of it. So here we go now. The Queen is starting to chip away. The creep spread is brilliant. Look at all this creep spread, all the different directions going. That is really, really nice, even coming down this way towards the third. So dTefel's creep spread, really solid, so advantageous against Terran. And really now, I'd say dTefel's in a great spot. He's got a solid worker lead. Look at that, 53 to 39. And with the double upgrades coming out compared to no upgrades on the way at the moment for Cass, he's looking really solid. The interesting thing from dTefel's play, I don't know if this is intentional, but he's completely skipped Zergling speed, instead rushing out a very quick roach speed and double upgrades. So this is going to really lend itself to going for a nice little timing push, especially with the number of roaches getting pumped out here. I'm really feeling that dTefel, now definitely those 7, he's going for a nice little 3 base timing push, and he hasn't taken his 5th or 6th gas. He's not fully saturated at the 3rd. He's just coming to punish basically this very aggressive style out of Cass. He knows Cass won't have many tanks in order to deal with a lot of roaches, so this is just looking all good. The vision though for dTefel shows that actually he doesn't know that the 3rd is down yet, and he could ideally have an overlord just up here somewhere in order to scout it out, but that Widow Mine, making sure any Ling run-bys will get shut down. But currently dTefel just pumping out more units, and where does that scan go down? In the main. Sees the lair, but doesn't see any key tech, and for the moment, this 3rd base is unbeknown as well to Cass. He can assume it's there after all, but it's not a guarantee, and without a guarantee, he's got to go and check. That's why these Hellions are going, but the roaches already preemptively moving in order to cover that, and they should be able to sneak through, but a lot of damage going to get done here. So many Hellions going to go down. The 3rd base will get confirmed, but with only 3 Hellions in there and an instant drone pull out of dTefel, this is not going to do any damage, and I can't believe it. That many Blue Flame Hellions killed no drones at all. Still, in this incredibly harassment style play we've seen out of Cass, he's only managed to kill a single worker throughout this near 12 minutes. A couple of Widow Mines around doing a little bit of damage, but against roaches it's not a big issue. There's also an Overseer now joining in just to grant detection to take it out, but this 3rd base suddenly looking to be in a lot of problems. 3 tanks with some nice spread, but those roaches, they can come around the side if they want to, or they can just charge up straight into this. The Widow Mine does detonate, but just look at how many roaches are here, straight away hugging up onto that 1st tank. The DPS from these roaches is going to be huge. They do have one done. That is compared to no upgrades for Cass at the time being. 2 more tanks are there, but the supply depot wall-off goes down near instantly, and suddenly we're seeing some good damage being done. 5 workers have already been killed, and this 3rd base is guaranteed to be forfeit. dTefel making the right move, in my opinion, of chasing after some of those SCVs. That's the guaranteed damage. He could probably take out the command center, but could always lift to get away, whereas the SCVs, they cannot escape. So a few more going down. dTefel really stamping out the economy of Cass, sitting a nice 14 workers ahead as well. That's very comfortable, but as the tank count increases, it's going to be more difficult to push him with just roaches. But dTefel, he smells blood. He's getting such high production of units. He's pumping it all out. There's the lift I was talking about, and that's the reason why we didn't see dTefel go for it immediately. But now just pulling back, waiting, biding his time. But every tank that comes out now for Cass is so helpful, because the tanks really do prevent the roaches from doing too much, but as we can see from dTefel, he's just happily pumping units. He's getting some lings out. Also, his infestation pit could just be for a quick hive to go into some ultras, but I think that's unlikely just due to the 2-2 ranged upgrade coming out. But as we're seeing now, just some good damage being done. What would really complement this style out of dTefel would be to get to a quick hive, get Vipers out, and a few blinding clouds over these tanks, and suddenly those roaches can push in easy peasy. One Reaper being a little hero here, desperately trying to take out this hatch, but not going to work. Reapers do, for those of you who don't know, 4 damage a hit and have 2 hits per attack, so that is not very much, and therefore the hatch will happily survive as the roaches run back. More tanks coming out, more swarm hosts, and actually this is a really interesting decision out of dTefel, because most Zerg players, when they see this many tanks, just say, do you know what, swarm hosts aren't going to work because the splash damage will be too much. But the thing that dTefel can do is he can spread out those swarm hosts. Some here, pump them in. Suddenly the splash from the tank can't cover every angle, especially this third base, because then if there's swarm hosts here, and also at the other entrance to the natural, and you spread them out, well then the tanks just can't cover that much area from the endless siege of Locust, and it just completely contains Cass. dTefel will be able to start taking this. Well, the right base he's already got. The left base can also be taken, and I expect it will be shortly. Getting up to 5 bases will be a very comfortable position. But in come the roaches, just sneaking through a lift force yet again. dTefel maxed out at 200 of 200. Can afford to start losing some of these roaches. 2-2. Missile attack is complete. Meanwhile, for Cass, he's only got +1 vehicle weapons, +2 about to come in. So 1-0 against 2-2 at the moment. Soon to be 2-0 against 2-2, so a very nice upgrade advantage there. The swarm hosts easing in. They do need to burrow though and be very careful, because Cass now starting to creep forwards, coming into, well, creeping onto the creep, and that is a very scary point. But pulling back now, clearly not feeling it for the time being. Feels a bit overextended, worried about a counterattack that could come through here. The supply depot wall-off is up, and that in itself could be a problem, because these roaches can just run in, but Cass with instant reaction stops that. But the supply depot goes down, and dTefel, he's just going to go for it. He's running straight in with these roaches. These are going to be able to do so much damage, and now we see the tanks starting to move out. Where are the swarm hosts? Well, they are coming from the other side, the Locusts from behind. Some of the tanks getting pulled out, but the roaches are coming into the main base. The production facilities are probably going to get focused very quickly, and as we can see, one factory going to go down. This is going to stop Cass from being able to resupply. He is supply blocked for the moment. A few tanks just left down here. Not that many swarm hosts though in order to push through, but as we can see already, these roaches doing incredible amounts of damage. 46 workers killed this game so far by the Zerg player. Cass in a huge amount of problems, and the swarm host moving around towards the third base, coming to avoid these tanks. But as we can see, the roaches finally getting cleaned out, but more are in production. dTefel's bank looking really quite healthy. Could do with a bit more gas, but he's going to start mining from his 7th and 8th geyser very shortly. These Locusts now moving in, and even with 2 tanks shelling on them, they're doing a comfortable amount of damage. A couple more SCVs getting taken out, and just look at this. 71 drones up against just 36 SCVs. That is an incredibly good position for dTefel, and he can just keep sending wave upon wave of Locusts while pushing with the swarm host on the other side. It's exactly as I said he was probably going to do earlier. The position these swarm hosts at either side, all of these different attack paths, just mean that he's going to really have a bit of a problem trying to, well, Cass is going to have a problem trying to clear them out, but if he overextends, this can happen. The roaches can suddenly start hanging up, the tanks shelling themselves, a few more tanks going down, the Locust able to push a bit further forward. The one thing I would love to see dTefel go for is a hive, because then he could get some Vipers, and a few blinding clouds would just absolutely annihilate these tanks with the swarm host, and that would just be oh so strong. We don't mind trying to come forward, but it's not going to have any luck. The swarm host are the third, moving even further forward, and I feel Cass is just going to have to GG. He's only at 25 workers. His natural base is still mining, but it's getting very low, and he's not able to clear out these swarm hosts in time. More roaches coming forward. The tanks are unsieged at the moment, forcing a siege very quickly, but the scan is about to finish, and the roaches pushing in with the Locust there as well. Look how quickly they fall, and there is the GG out of Cass. So Cass, a very, very good player, and dTefel just systematically took him apart, went for those brilliant timing pushes that Zerg players are so desperate to execute well in HotS before their opponent can get up a large army. And all in all, dTefel looking really, really strong. So everybody, remember, like this video, leave a cool comment, and of course subscribe. Then flick over to Twitter, follow at ESET UK Masters for all the latest information. The finals are coming up on the 22nd to the 25th of March. That's this weekend for anyone watching it. when it's uploaded, and yeah, make sure you check out all the TL threads and things like that. And if you want to follow me for a caster's opinion of the event, well, my details are on screen. Thank you very much for watching, boys and girls. I hope you did like it, and I will see you on stream at the weekend. Bye for now.